Welcome to the Peak News, final edition before we take our summer hiatus. Lots of new, awesome, great things happening here at the Peak. Really excited. We just did a show on Tuesday about what we're going to be doing when we over the summer and what we're going to be doing when we come back. And we're really raring to go. Very excited about this. Sad to be, not doing this every day, but also, honestly, I know it's a radio show. I'm just here talking, but there's a lot that goes into this. It's pretty exhausting. And just like most of you all take a little time off, Chaim the Watchman needs that too with his family. So looking forward to doing that and all the great things that we're going to be doing over the summer for the Peak. And thank you for listening, for sharing, for those of you who've taken part in this program in some way, even if it's just, sharing our social media posts around so people know that we exist, because the Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud and we do it for you. We do it to serve the community. We're not here, like most of the media, to serve government and corporate interests. I'm not here to serve myself. I'm not here to push an agenda on you. I guarantee you that. It's hard for me to not put my opinion in the mix because, hey, I'm a pretty strong opinionated person. But our commitment to journalistic ethics, our commitment to getting good information to you in context, fair. I don't know about balanced. There's no real balance. Nothing is balanced, right? But fair is what journalism is about. And since we launched in January of 2024, we've been coming out here 4 days a week to do just that. And we've done a lot. I'm not going into that today. We did our sort of recap final show on Tuesday, because today we're future looking and about where is media going and how are we to all walk with it. I did set a vision, for everybody to get involved. This is citizen journalism. We want you to be a citizen journalist and help us tell the story, or an intern if you're a young person. I'm going to be teaching in the public schools in a month and a half, and that's part of what I need the time off to focus on, because pouring into the lives of young people and teaching them to do proper journalism, this basically lost art that's so necessary for our society. I'm really excited about it. And as we approach this and look into where is media going, we are looking at what you call new media, so new forms of media, or the way that things are being put together, the way that we're taking the current technology and the current social trends and the way people are starting to interact with media in more and more powerful ways, with podcasting, with AI, even with interactive video and things like that. This is fascinating for someone like me who's been in this, as I was a kid. The reason I do this and broadcasting and video was, my big start. I did it as a kid. I did it in college, broadcasting, is because I watched so much darn television growing up. My parents never should have allowed me. I was that fat kid that would come home, sit on the couch, eat, and watch TV all day. But I turned it into a career. And, so maybe there's something redeeming in all that. So on today's program, we're going to be talking about new media, social platforms, including AI, and how to be successful building your tribe for personal and business reasons. This is Media and Education Thursday, and so we are going to be educating you in the media. And our guest for the hour is a new friend of mine, Rob Thompson, lead architect for the 411 for the 719, which is a local business directory in our region and the largest social network in our region with 100,000 plus members on Facebook. But his website's really where it's at, and the coding and everything. We're going to be getting into that. He is also a former U.S. Air Force Thunderbird comm chief. So you can see, the kind of person, the level of detail, the diligence, that goes into being a success. And so on today's program, we're going to be talking about, and this is a term that Rob just shared with me just before the show, but I totally get it. The adjacent possible, meaning What is possible to do next? And all of us, whether it's in family, whether it's in business, whether it's anything, what can we do next that is actionable? And you know, I've been saying that the reason we do hyper local news here is because we can have an impact here, not necessarily in Denver, probably not in Washington, not on the other side of the planet, but right here. That is possible. And so I love that we're finishing up. This is our show 266. Praise God. 266 that we're finishing up talking about what we've been talking about from day one is do the next right thing to serve your family, yourself, your community. And we've loved being here. Thanks for joining us on our final show before the summer. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. We'll be right back with Rob Thompson. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. Ready for summer. We should have done like school's out for the summer. Maybe see James, see if you can pull that up and we can put that in the program at one of the breaks. Still want to finish with one day because we always finish with one day. But if you want to throw it in on another break, that's cool. This is normally our headline segment, and we banter on the headlines. But the reason that we do it, I probably said this a couple of times over the past year and a half that we've been on the air. The reason that we do the headline segment, two things. One, our vision, and we're starting to do it, is more investigative journalism. Honestly, I sit here, I criticize the local media for not covering stuff, and then I go get information off their websites and I use it on the air because, you got to be scrappy at a startup. But if you've noticed, if you've been tracking with us, is that more and more as we've trained up citizen journalists, as we've gotten better at it, we get, we've gotten whistleblowers on stuff. We've been bringing you news that we break, things that are original. And that's the intention, or at least pick up our angle. I like to say peak style, the way that we do things here. And the reason that we do them is these stories need to be told. They can't be ignored. It's so easy for stuff to go out of the news cycle, to not cover it, to not get to the end of it. And then, what happens? It festers because some people think one thing about it. Some people think the other. We never get closure. Rinse and repeat a million times, and you end up with a very polarized society. So it's important to tell these stories. Plus, they impact us. It's like we don't have any gangs here, right? Yeah, until the feds bust a nightclub, with a couple hundred people, cartels, illegal, half the people there illegal, we don't have these problems, right? Yeah, of course we do. And we need to talk about them, but we also have wonderful things that go on that just never get the light of day. Stories don't get told. And so our goal is to have all these citizen journalists out and about doing what they're passionate about, feature stuff, investigative stuff, hardcore things, lighter fare, interviews, all of it, and empower people through a platform to do that because everybody should have a voice if they want one, right? We have to exercise our rights, right? First Amendment rights. You got to exercise it. Keep your mouth shut. You have the right. You're not using it. And I want you to use it. This has never been the Chaim Goldman Show. So what are some of the headlines or the news items that we've covered over the past year and a half that I'm most proud of? That's what I'm going to just quickly talk about that. And the great thing is we have podcasts. You go on the peak.news, go to our podcast page. That's one of the things we're going to be doing over the summer too, is improving that, because I built it like right when we launched for like hosting a couple of weeks, and then 60 to 70 weeks later of shows, it's really clunky and not good to do. Maybe Rob is a coder. He's going to help me totally improve the website so you can find our podcast, but you can find these on there. So first of all, the risks of radical Islam, and specifically here, right? That's what we do, hyper-local news. So even when we talk about like just what happened in Israel and Iran, we just did that. We talk about what does it mean here? What are the implications for the military here? Because obviously we're a military town. What are the implications for terrorism here? We just had a guy living here go up to Boulder and light 15 elderly Jewish people on fire. Don't tell me there's not anti-Semitism and terrorism here in Colorado, even here right in our neighborhood, right? So we got to deal with this stuff. So the risk of radical Islam, I did a couple of shows where I bring on Mohammed Faridi. He is the director of Iranian Christians International local ministry, friend of mine, really strange, right? A Jewish person and a guy who's a former Iranian Revolutionary Guard jihadist, raised to kill Jews as the highest thing. And as we both became believers in Jesus and Yeshua, that would transform both of us. We're like best friends, right? Like that's what happens, when you get a heart change, whether, and you can say you don't need it for that, whatever. I'm just telling you how it happened with us. So some of my best friends, people, because we understand the ideologies of our communities and why we haven't been getting along for thousands of years, although the Persians we have. But under radical Islam, we don't. And so all the things that we talked about regarding what is Islam really about and what are the implications for all of them that are in America that are doing these pro-Hamas, these things on college campuses, potential terrorism and everything, and really confronting it, not just as an idea, but what's going on in our community. And then lo and behold, an Egyptian national, commits an act of egregious terrorism against Jewish people in our state, somebody who is living here. And we say, okay, this is real. We've been talking about it. Maybe we said, hey, Chaim and Mohammed talked about that. Secondly, the really big thing, the hate crime hoax situation that came out, broke by the Daily Wire. that this hate crime hoax that happened during the mayoral election a couple years ago, that our mayor was in on it from the beginning, and all of that. People said this was a non-story. Walk away from it. Don't do it. It's the mayor. And I said, look, got nothing against Yemi. I like Yemi. But if he did it, he needs to be held accountable. If he didn't do it, his name needs to be cleared. Again, no festering. So we've been investigating. We got whistleblowers. The trial happened. We've probably done 10 shows on it, plus updates. We're not through it yet. This is a very deep story. And we're hoping that the feds, now that there was this trial and the conviction of the people who actually did it, but there was testimony by Yemi and testimony by the FBI of, did he do it? And again, some people think he did, and some people think he didn't. And it usually goes along the party lines, of wanting him out of office or wanting him in office. That's not what we do in the media. We don't have a dog in the fight. What we do is what's the truth here, and how do we get it out there? And Yemi should have his name cleared, or he should be held accountable. So we have tons of shows on that, but that just shows what we can do. A national news source broke the story, has written multiple articles on it, and most of the local media ignored it. Like literally ignored it, put a little blurb or nothing for weeks and weeks. And then when they mentioned it, it wasn't really about the story, and they're not investigating. As far as we know, no one is investigating it. But Jordan Baldwin, who's our lead investigative journalist, great guy, Jordan, thanks so much for putting the whole investigative team together, and citizen journalists have been looking into this, getting deeper, and there's a lot more to come on it, including whistleblowers. People actually call us, trust us as media, and they're not calling the big guys in town because they know it won't go anywhere if they do. But with us, we put it on the air. So I'm very proud of that. When people said, walk away, there's no story here, my gut as a reporter said, there's something here. And there is. We slow walk this because we want to be accurate, and we also don't want to ruin a person's life. I mean, that's a really important part of local journalism. Everybody's our neighbors. Thirdly, J6 praying grandma, Rebecca Laverenz, friend of mine, grandma in her 70s, went to Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021. The doors opened. She walked through the Capitol 10 minutes, stayed between the ropes. When they asked her to leave, she walked out. And a couple months later, the FBI shows up at her house, and she's looking at jail time, all this stuff. She had to raise all kind of money. She went to D.C. They convicted her, but thankfully they gave her an ankle bracelet for 6 months and didn't put her in jail. And then when Trump was elected in, he immediately pardoned all of those people. Although she didn't want the pardon because she actually wants to sue. Like she wants to actually for what happened to her. But Rebecca, she's just, she's great. You should meet Rebecca. She's a powerhouse. She's a patriot. And since I knew her from the beginning, when this started happening and going through and she went to trial, we were there to break those stories. Even on the day that the conviction and the sentencing came down, forget which one, we had her on the phone first and we're breaking that. That's local news, right? A national story with a local angle, knowing the people and reporting on it. And then lastly, and we just did this on Monday, the whole Pikes Peak Pride thing. This is going on in our community. It's quite radicalized. We've exposed the Marxism, the Social Democrats. You're probably hearing more about that because of the Democrat mayoral election primary that just happened, where it seems like New York City, the capitalist, entity of the entire world, is going to vote in a person who's a true communist and a jihadist to run the city. Like, this is insane. But all that to say that this ideology, the pride ideology, the grooming of the children, all of that, it's that stuff that we just don't like, but we don't look into and figure out how to do things with. We've followed Pikes Peak Pride for a couple of years. We've brought things on. I think that we've been fair, we've been balanced, and we just ask, is this good for our community? Should tax money be going to it? And all of those things. So as we move into the future, investigative journalism on the deep level and on the middle levels is going to be a big part of what we do, and we ask you to join us. If you like to tell stories, we'll show you how to be passionate and tell these stories in our community, because there's a million of them, and we can only cover them with you, where we say the quiet stuff out loud as citizens. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and we'll be right back with Rob Thompson talking about the adjacent possible. Cool. Okay. So the adjacent possible, I will introduce you. You'll have about 4 minutes. I'll give you the cues. Keep the keep the energy up, and just make sure that, however slow or fast, you get to all your points you want to get to.
Okay.
You'll know by the 2-minute cue where you are, and you'll either realize you can slow it down or you better pick it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I want the radio is so limiting. We got 40 minutes of content a day. I still see this, or the podcast or whatever we're doing, as the premier thing where we highlight it. But it's like we bring on a reporter and they give a 4-minute thing, but we have a half-hour report on it on our website.
Right.
So I see this being, the premier thing, possibly, print, because Dirk Hobbs just bought the Indy, and I'm talking to him about maybe citizen journalists getting to put stuff in print, but that our website becomes this massive local, hyper-local entity where we could even have potentially a YouTube type thing where everybody can just put stuff up and there's no moderating other than for, dangerous stuff. And it's just like a free-for-all. And then when we see things getting views, or we see a story that's really good, it's almost like our AA ball, right? And then we can bring it up to the moderator, to the reviewed content. Maybe we do it pure, maybe we bring them in and help them develop it, and then so that we become video, audio, print, this massive thing for our region. And that's why we're called the Peak. It's Pikes Peak region. So that overall, so that we can give people space, and we can even give them channels or stuff within it. And if people want to tell stories, that there's a place for it. There's a platform for it. They volunteer their time. Yes?
You said School's Out, Alice Cooper, right?
That's it. I think so, right?
Do you want it on this next one?
No, do it going into segment 5.
Okay.
Because 6, I still want, I still want to end with one day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you can do it, and do you have like a 15 or 20 second, of that, where he just goes right into the lyric? What?
I have 30 second right now. Set.
Yeah, we usually do 10 to 15. Do you think you can?
Like for the bumper?
As a bumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a bumper.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Going into segment 5 as the bumper, like just school's out forever, and then start fading out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
No worries.
So we're back in 30. So, that's my vision. You put in the time. This is why we have the nonprofit, to train people up, both youth and adults. You put in the time, we'll give you the platform. We'll teach you how to be a journalist. We'll review it. We'll treat you professionally. But this is how we get the media back, because nobody can afford to pay all these people that it takes to cover a city.
Well, there's a quote I think about a lot.
What?
Systems drive behaviors. Okay. So, the money, the clicks, the algorithm is driving a lot of the behavior that you're seeing.
We want humans to do that.
but human systems drive behaviors too.
Welcome back to The Peak. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. This is our final show before summer break, and we have with us for the hour Rob Thompson. Who is he? Lead architect for the 411 for the 719. This is a local business matching directory. Done, what were you reported, $4 to $5 million worth of business?
Yep. So the 411 is a
James? Okay, speak.
Testing 1 2 3. testing. Uh-oh.
Okay, I'll keep talking. Okay. No, I just heard that. Okay. You know what? We there you go. We might as well have some tech issues on our final day.
That's fine.
And Rob, we were talking before the show, and he brought up this thing, the adjacent possible, and I said, "What is that?" And he told me, and I immediately knew, because it's about what is possible to do next. And that's what we've done here on The Peak. That's how you build a business. That's, I think, how you should live your life. Don't give up. Don't wait. Don't think that something in the future is going to come along and suddenly you'll be free. But what can you do right now? So, no, Rob Thompson,
Yep.
The adjacent possible.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on here today. Very happy to be here. Very happy for this opportunity. So the 411 is a community and business platform. I like to say we're half community and half business. It is a system, and we have 100,000 members. We are a complex adaptive system, I like to say, and through this, one of the principles of complex adaptive systems that we need to understand is called the adjacent possible, and what that means is what is possible. What the 411, for example, is not just 100,000 people. It is, I like to make the joke that it's 600,000 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It is all of the nodes, it's all of the potentiality that's involved with all of those people. It is a term coined by Stuart Kaufman, he was a biologist, biological type gentleman and a complexity theorist. And basically it says that there are a finite number of changes that can occur in a complex system at any given point in time. So it's analyzing a system and it's saying what is possible right now within the constraints or the time we have. You mentioned earlier a lot of the things going on at the much higher level we cannot actually impact. There's a gentleman named Nassim Taleb. He wrote the book Anti-Fragile, and he talks about turning off the 24-hour news cycle and looking at what is actually happening in your life, in your locality, in your sphere of influence, and executing on that. Doing what you can locally. But a couple of the principles of the adjacent possible are like this: the systems don't expand or leap; they expand. They expand one step at a time. Okay. Another concept to consider is that the future emerges through interactions. Those 600,000 degrees of Kevin Bacon, we can make things happen through those local interactions. That if not say we don't look at the larger national issues, but hyperlocal is the start of all that. It seems to me that over time we have on both sides have gone kind of higher and higher to execute authority, right? But really local authority. You actually taught me something here. What did you call it? The magistrate?
The lesser
The
magistrate.
lesser magistrate, right? What can we? The authority on the issue on the ground is the person on the ground,
Closest to it.
closest to the issue, right? And then lastly, for the adjacent possible, consider this local as a launch pad, not a limitation. What can we do locally? What can the 411? What can similar groups? Word of Mouth Colorado Springs has 50 or 60,000 people in it. What can we achieve together locally? And that's kind of the adjacent possible idea, is what's possible within our constraints and our time right now. What can we achieve? What's inside our locus of control? And that's I've used that idea and complex adaptive systems theory to conceptualize what can the 411 do. And to date, we've generated we have a give back program. Actually, we've donated over $11,000 for diapers, groceries, etc. We try to meet the need with speed for the folks who can't get to the pantries. On the other side of the business equation, we have generated over 12,000 leads since June of last year for local businesses to the tune of $4 to $6 million.
So when people tell you, it can't be done, or I'm waiting on something, what do you say?
I immediately go to the first principles. Why? Why can't it be done? What is, what's stopping us? What are the, what's the first questions? Why? What is the structure of that? What are the component structures? Why can't it be done?
Are you ready to do what's next, folks? We are here at the Peak. When we come back with Rob Thompson, we're going to be talking about the future. We'll be right back. Yeah, this is just 2 minutes.
Cool.
Okay, so go to segment 4 and look at the questions. And speak up a little bit. You're a little quiet.
Okay.
He's raising the levels, but it's better if you give a good.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're back in 30. Okay. Good deal. Welcome back to the Peak News. So happy to rock this town. That's what we've been trying to do from the beginning. When I was getting ready to do the show, I'm like, I'm at the radio station. We can use copyrighted music. Unfortunately, not on the podcast, but on the show. And it just came to me that Stray Cats that rock this town, rock it inside out. That's what we need to do. We together, not the Peak as a citizen journalist network. We need to rock this town. We need to shake it up. Because that's when you expose things, that's when we can get better. That's when we can ask good questions, demand good answers. So I hope that you're inspired to rock this town, whether it's in your neighborhood, maybe it's in your local schools, maybe just you're a business person and you're rocking it there. Do something. As Steve Jobs used to say, make a dent in the universe. Like, do something. And the adjacent possible is what it is when you think about things. I used to live my life way too far ahead, sort of prophetic, coming up with ideas that people were not ready for. People couldn't even wrap their mind around. And it's interesting. And when it comes to pass, if it does in your lifetime, that's a cool thing. But it's no way to run a business. You can't make any money. You can't really have an effect if nobody can wrap their mind around it because it's just not adjacently possible. People don't understand. You're living too far up ahead. So do what's next, and it tends to be a simple thing. Shout out, I'll do today, our final show before the summer hiatus, to all of our sponsors. Springs Dentist, of course, our platinum sponsor, but all of our sponsors. Listen to the commercials. Please use their businesses. They're bringing this show to you. They launched the show. They've kept it on the air this whole time. And so please reward them for that effort by using them when you need their services, and let them know the Peak sent you, because that helps us out here when our sponsors actually get a return. But their return, and they know it, is that they're providing the service. They really believe in it, and so respect them for that. Okay, Media and Education Thursday, and we're talking new media and social platforms, including AI, and how to be successful building your tribe for personal or business reasons. We have Rob Thompson, lead architect for the 411 for the 719 Local Business Directory, which is the largest social network in our region with 100,000 plus members on Facebook, and a former USAF Thunderbird comm chief. So, Rob, once again, thanks for helping me finish things out here. You were in the Thunderbirds. I was saying to people you were a pilot. You said, no, I wasn't a pilot. But you were at the academy. How did you get here where you're running this big business matching and social network for our region?
As a Thunderbird, I was the comm chief, and we came here every 4 years, or every year for 4 years or so, right, with graduation. And so my wife's family lived in the region, and so after the Thunderbirds, I asked, where do you want to go next? And she said, well, I want to go to Colorado. And I said, well, we've been here every year for 4 years. And so I applied to be an AMT at the academy, which is a first sergeant, a human relations kind of person for the cadets, and got the job. And so the connection through all of that is in the Thunderbirds, I was a systems guy. As the comm chief, I was in charge of all the non-flying systems, if you will, from air traffic control to weather to music to narration to
ever since I've been here, the weather's never good that day. It's always you could hardly see the planes.
Well, I will say that air show that got canceled recently. I will tell you from being in that squadron, they did everything possible. If there was a 0.01% chance of flying, they would have stuck it out. But so from the technical aspect and being in that environment to being being there for the cadets and that human relations type job, I would say systems and human relations kind of merged, and I Facebook for me, I was using it to advocate and help people, and I just turned it into my full-time gig kind of thing, where I was like, well, I can facilitate these conversations, build the environment, the systems environment where these interactions can happen, and what good can we do? You know, I mentioned we've donated personally as a group over $11,000 for local needs, and then generated all that business for folks. And so it's all about facilitating what's adjacently possible.
So with that in mind, and you told me this before the program, Robert Scoble said, we cannot envision the future because we haven't been there yet. So what do you think about that? I don't agree with that. I envision the future all the time, although it may be inaccurate. But what do you think about that in regards specifically to where media and communication and human interaction in the time of AI, which I fear they're going to track us so much. Pretty soon you think you're talking to your friend, but you're actually not. Like it's like and maybe my AI is talking to your AI. Can we get our human back, you know, with all this technology as we move forward with media and communications overall?
So I think that actually we're going to see, and I think we're seeing, why does the 411 work? It's because of the human interaction. You know, it's technologically assisted by my coding efforts and things and software, but it's human conversation. So I think we're going to see some of that back. But what Scoble means kind of too is the technology that's coming. For example, we both wear glasses. Very soon, Apple Vision Pro headsets are going to be reduced the size of our glasses. Augmented reality is going to be a thing. That coffee cup with the ad on it is going to throw up a beacon that I'm going to be able to click on.
I'm showing it on the air. There are only two of these in existence, the Peak News coffee cup.
It's going to pop up a beacon that's going to appear in my field of vision that I'm going to be able to click on, and it's going to start live streaming to my AirPods. That's what Scoble means. The technology that is coming and is here, to my mind, expands what's adjacently possible. So these are the things. We're going to be further saturated by advertising and by opportunities, but also those are going to present opportunities for your channel here. For example, your coffee cup is going to be a beacon that people will be able to listen to your show. So then the task before us is to how do we leverage that in a positive, human-oriented way, with what's coming. But what he means by that, and one quick example, Steve Jobs, you mentioned, it took him 6 months to be convinced to produce an iPhone. When his team originally pitched the idea of the iPhone, he said to them, "Why would I want a phone on my music player?" Right. So but now we have the iPhone that revolutionized the telecommunications world. So that's kind of what that means is we can't quite imagine it until we build it.
But I mean, it actually did become that. What's very funny now, and I just heard someone say this the other day, the phone is an app on your phone. You know, people don't even talk. People don't even want to talk. They want to text. They want to do other stuff. And now you have hundreds, thousands of apps. Oh, yeah. And your phone is
an app on the phone.
Yeah, right? is an app on the phone. It's not really a phone. It's just one of the functions of this device that I'm carrying in my pocket is voice communication.
So you have a supercomputer in your pocket that happens to be able to make phone calls.
Right.
So that's what that means.
And yet we still call it a phone. Right?
We do. That's this system, and we can't quite know what is going to happen and evolve and new offshoots of that technology.
And I think Louis C.K. talked about this. You know, it's like we can't slam the phone down anymore in anger. You're like, just punch the button. There's no drama in it.
There's no haptic feedback.
How great to be able to slam a phone down to make a point at the end of a conversation.
There was actually an app that was a rage app that you pushed the button and it broke put up an image of a broken screen.
So with that, if we can't fully envision the future, how should people approach the future in regard to media, whether in business, because businesses want to reach people, but there's so many platforms and so many people are still, you know, so back and not doing it right, or personal ways as people want to be, you know, influencers or just communicate. How do you feel, since we can't tell the future, I want you to be a futurist, make a statement now. How do you think people should regard media as we move into the future?
Well, that's a huge question. And there's something called epistemic trust. It is the core trust in people follow you because they have a core trust in you.
Okay. Thank you if you do that.
They follow the 411 because they have a core trust in the 411. So I think trust, build trust in your tribe.
Yeah, well, that's a short answer,
Well,
and that's
yeah,
it. And
that's-
and so, guess what's happened? The media doesn't have any trust anymore, right?
Well,
Because
the
they
media,
lied
the
so much,
government,
right?
the employment numbers under either form of administration, nobody trusts the epistemic trust has been lost in that one.
And I thought that the low point, was the elections. People on all sides of the spectrum realized that the media was pushing a narrative. And now with this thing in Iran where they're saying that they didn't even really successfully bomb the facilities and it came out, I mean, it's like a constant stream of lying and people have picked up on it big
So
time.
pushing a narrative, or do systems drive behaviors? And
Okay, but the
everybody has
algorithms.
the algorithm, the clicks, they amplify these messages. Not to say that people don't have what do you say, pushing a narrative. They don't have narratives, but maybe the narrative is the medium, right? Something to consider.
Okay, so Ro, have a minute or so left. Tell us quick about 411 for the 719.
All right, we're a hyper-local community and business platform. We have 103,000 members, almost 104,000. It's all about making connections to the local community, amplifying what's adjacently possible. You mentioned highlighting local stories. We have 20.2% of the population of the city in that group. So think about what good we can do if we band together and amplify that good.
And so businesses list and people interact with the businesses.
So it is community and business amplified is my tagline.
Okay.
And I want to stress that it's a community platform first. And
So how do
foremost.
people get involved?
Go to the 411-719.com on Facebook or on the internet, or you can search for the 411-719 on Facebook. Join the group and tell us what you're looking for, who you need, what you can ask for doctors, you can ask for business services, you can community needs. We're all about connecting and meeting people at their stated level of need. I need this in the community, or I need this in business, and we're there to facilitate the conversation.
So not some kind of cold Yellow Pages thing, but a community helping you find the right answer to your situation.
And we're not telling you that answer. We're facilitating the structure in which the community can elevate that answer.
Okay, the website is the 411 for the 719.com. When we come back with Rob Thompson, be present and add value, being intentional and diligent in everything that you do, because there's things to do. How to get it done? We'll be talking about it next here on The Peak. Okay, cool. Okay, man. Final segment. Cool. Being present and add value. And because we don't have the rant, we have 7.5 minutes for this one, so that way I can be a little bit, more interactive with stuff. And, you can, how you built your business, how I built mine,
Yes, that's good. Battle rhythm. I call it my battle rhythm.
My issue is putting out a show every day and trying to make it excellent. We have never developed our social media. We have all this content, 266 shows. No one knows about it. Haven't put it out there. I mean, we could put out, I realized in July and August, we could put out 4 of our shows every day. And build this following. So when we come back with a live show, using all of that content on video to do that.
Do you know the algorithm is so smart that it's more about cueing into what people are looking for than Gary Vee said this. He said he's got 10 million followers, right? But Joe Sixpack can have content that's going to go more viral than Gary Vee's, because the algorithm is so smart that it serves up what people are looking for. So it's more now, I think, about hitting the natural language of what people are interested in versus saturation of content. Because if you don't have followers and they're not engaging in your content, it's just not going to pick it up. It's being present. It's interacting with. It's commenting as the Peak News. It's all of these things are part of the algorithm that is going to amplify your presence. Simply putting the material out there is important for deep domain expertise, but it's not going to get, the algorithm's not going to pick you up just for putting content out there. It's got to be the difference between a headline like this. I have a headline on my real estate blog that says something to the effect of, here are the CPOLP ratios in El Paso County for November 2024. I'd like to joke that no one on earth is ever going to Google that statement. It's just not happening. Right? But I have another headline on my blog that says, "What's wrong with the market in one image?" People are Googling what's wrong with the real estate market, right? And so it's how are you?
And
asking the question?
we'll be able to release this content and just relabel it, add better questions,
Absolutely. Yep, better questions and
to it, even though the show is fixed because we already recorded
exactly.
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Repackage it, ask the question and test it. Today, ask it this way.
Because we have full shows, we can do each section of the show, we can do shorts.
And
I mean, we started to have the stuff cut up the shorts and put it out there, but
it's the question. It's the core question is this: how are they going to Google? Well, how are you going to show up in a Google search? And like I said, it's what's wrong with the market versus CPO/LP ratios.
welcome back to the Peak. Thanks, James, for throwing in a new piece of music because, yeah, school's out. The Peak's out. We're going to be taking a summer hiatus and rework a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're interested in hearing that, Tuesday's show, the 24th, was all about that. State of the Peak. What's next? After doing all of these programs and working on all of this, we're focused on a lot of things, including getting more involvement from you, getting more impact with the work that we do, and raising up through our nonprofit, the Peak News Educational Foundation, a new generation of integrous, ethical journalists, both old and young, to cover our community. And want to work with Rob Thompson here to figure out how we build out those platforms, those systems, and those algorithms. You know, how do we get AI to make us more human, right? Like that's one of the big questions that we're asking. And so we're going to be excited to share that with you of what happens over the next couple of months. So in this final segment, for me and for Rob, I'll do a close in the next one. But when I was talking to him on the phone a couple weeks ago, and I said to him, "How did you build the largest social network in the area?" And he basically, being a military guy and being a precise guy and a coder, I thought he was going to talk about, marketing, how we did this, maybe he had to kill a couple people in order to do it, push people out. No, I didn't expect that. But basically what he said was do the next right thing, be diligent every day, show up and be consistent. And that is really a success in anything that you do, in your family, in your business, and anything else. That slow and steady wins the race, right? The Aesop's fable, right? It ends up being true. It's not so sexy, and that's why most people don't do it. But it is real. So in this segment, finishing up with Rob Thompson, lead architect for the 411 for the 719. Be present and add value, being intentional and diligent in everything you do. Rob.
So there's a couple thoughts I have on that. One, Seth Godin, who wrote the book Linchpin, he talks about adding value, and he says value is defined as the emotional labor of your profession. So you show up, you answer the questions, you add value. If somebody asks a question, if you're a handyman and somebody says, "Hey, how do I frame this?" Don't say, "Well, call me, book a thing, and I'll come to your, here's how you frame it," and do a little video, do a little comment, write a little tutorial that you share with them about how to do the thing. And I've had folks say stuff like this, "Well, then I'll lose the business." No, maybe the person tries it, but then they're going to call you because you answered their question. And I like to make the joke that I've never framed a wall. I might try. I might watch your video, try. My wife's going to say your wall is crooked. Call the guy whose video you were watching, and then you get the demo job too, right? So add value. Add value without the expectation of reciprocation. Answer the question because you're trying to help, and it's not. I like to make the joke too about real estate agents. I have a license, so I can make this joke. When people ask questions about real estate, their answer is often, "Well, here, you can't see this, but I'm handing him my contract, and I'm saying, sign here, and I'll tell you everything you want to know." Tell them what they want to know. You'll build that trust, and you will, without expectation of reciprocation, without the hook. And show up. You add value every day. Without the hook, and it's just, I'm here to help, and here I'm going to help, and I'm going to do that. And then you show up again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And I have a philosophy I call my battle rhythm. And you sit down. Here's what you need to do. You need to take a look at your business. You need to ask yourself the core question of this: what are the minimum mandatory actions that I need to do on what periodic basis to keep my business going and growing? And so map out your daily tasks, your weekly tasks, your monthly tasks, and then you do them. and then you do them again tomorrow. And that also provides you like this lifeline where you can hold on to it. And even if you're not feeling it, you show up and you do the things, and then you show up every day. There are very few overnight successes.
The 20-year overnight success.
right, exactly. And that's how do they get there? By showing up every day and adding value.
So what do you do, and what do you suggest people do when you don't have the motivation, when you want to procrastinate, when you want to just, be on the news feeds on your phone and not do the right thing? Where do you get that intestinal fortitude to actually not just think it, but do it?
Identify your why. For me, it's help. I want to build stuff to help people and provide for my kids. And so you've got to find that internal structure, or hire a coach that will call you every day and tell you to get off your butt and do the thing. Right.
Accountability, other people.
Yeah, it's you've got to do it. No one is going to hand it to you. You've got to get there. You've got to do it. How do you find that intestinal fortitude? That's a good question. For me, I look at my daughter's faces and I can't not show up.
Right.
That's so find your why.
Yeah, what I do, I give myself, I set myself up with deadlines. Things that, like today, and Rob and I are going right after the show. We're doing an event together. This is an event, I talked about it on the show, Influencer Networking. Going to be great. Thanks to all of you influencers who are going to be there. But I mean, at 5:00 today, that event starts, and I have to do everything. I still have a little thing to do after the show. That's how I hack myself. I commit myself to ridiculous things that stress me out to no end because I want them to happen and accomplish them. I tell people that I'm doing them, sometimes even on the air, and then I got to figure it out. And that might not be healthy, but that's my life hack. Hard deadlines.
Yeah, that's actually pretty. If you put it out there publicly, you're gonna have to pull through, right? So that's a good life hack.
I don't know how good it is, but it works. Because and guess what is the ultimate thing? A live radio show or a live TV show at 3:01 Monday through Thursday for the past year and a half of my life, other than when I had some guest hosts in here. That's where I've been. I've been sitting at this seat, and they know sometimes, the music's playing and you sit down and, it's ready to go, but there's always a show. And so that for me. So last thoughts, 30 seconds on this, on being present and added value.
So add value, just show up, answer the questions, let people know who you are and what you do, but don't do it with a hook. I would also say map out your battle rhythm. And then I know we're out of time. I don't want to introduce a new concept, but research the OODA loop. John Boyd, fighter pilot,
OODA loop.
OODA, and then execute.
Okay. I hope that over the summer, when we come back, I want to hear what you did over the summer. What did you do that you knew? I don't know whether it's maybe just fixing the fence in the backyard or talking to that person or starting that business or reading that book. But you be intentional. Rob Thompson, thanks so much, man. A new friend of mine. We're going to be hearing a lot more about what Rob and I are doing together. 411 for the 719. I'll be right back to close the show.
Cool. Well, that was a fast 7.5 minutes. Whew.
Yeah, man. Radio goes real fast. That's why
yeah.
we talk fast and everything.
Yeah.
Just hang out for a minute. We're
Okay.
going to close the
absolutely.
show. I got to do all these thank yous. So check-in starts at 4:45. So if you want to, either people should be showing up and choosing and stuff. I still have some printing and stuff I need to do, so I'm gonna the moment this is over, I'm gonna run
Fair enough.
out. So hey,
From that conversation.
hey James. Wait, let me. Can you? I got to run out here the moment this is over. Can you take a quick photo?
Yeah.
Here. Okay, we got 30 seconds. Hey, Tom. 1 second. Cool. Thank you. Wow. Bittersweet moment as we close out our week, as we close out our broadcast season and go into summer hiatus. Wonderful things happening. Please stay in touch with us by doing, if you haven't already, just like us on Facebook, go on YouTube and whatever, subscribe there, go on our website, thepeak.news, get on our contact page, give us a way to get in touch with you so we can let you know what's going on over the summer and beyond. I want to thank first Salem Media and Chris Gould, our general manager, for giving us the opportunity to come on the air here during the week, a local program during the week, like it doesn't happen. But so thank you, Chris, for doing that, and it's been great. Looking forward to what's coming next. Thank you to Matt West, our producer, to James Fiddler, our first intern who's now working at Salem, Zach Goldman, my son, who's been interning for me for a year and personal assistant. We're doing great stuff. Of course, Jim Miller, just a guy in the Peak Rant. Sorry we didn't have a rant from Jim today to finish up the show, but sometimes it goes that way. And of course, all of our sponsors that have been with us, especially the ones from the beginning, but all the way through, paying the bills, supporting what we're doing, being out in the community, making it happen. Thank you, all of our listeners. So we head into summer break. Great stuff to do. Coming up on Friday, as always in our time slot, Dirk Hobbs and the Business Digest Weekly. Please tune into that. Coming up next here on The Answer is the Larry Elder Show. Always proud to throw to Larry Elder at the end of the show here on The Answer. We're going to have 266 podcasts up on our website, so you don't have to miss us at all. You can just go on, find the ones that you've missed, listen, great guests, great information all the time. And the Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, so you keep saying the quiet stuff out loud. This is a We the People media movement here in our region. So you go out, you keep paying it forward, you keep doing the best thing that's next and change our community. And when we come back, we're going to be saying it even louder and louder for such a time as this. Shalom. Have a great summer. Thank you so much. Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, out.